wheel off, you want to take off the center cap. You can use a pry bar or a screwdriver. Just use a rag so you don't scratch the wheel. Pry that off. Use a 22mm socket, take the lug nuts off. And slide the tire off. I'm going to remove the inner fender well. You don't necessarily have to do this. You could just use a wrench under here and a socket on the other side and try to get it out that way. But it doesn't take much time just to remove this, and it's going to be a lot easier to see what's going on. I'm going to use a trim tool, take these push pins out. Sometimes it's a little easier if you have two. You can just pry with one. Take that out as well. Take these bolts out, use a 7mm socket. And around the rest of the cover, there's all these screws. You're going to use a T15, take all of those out. And right here, and right here. And grab the inner fender well, and just slide it down and out of the way. Take this air line off. There's a little lock right here. You just twist it to the side like that, and then pull this off. Just be careful, there might be a little pressure behind there. And then you can reset the lock. Make sure it's in the grooves, just like that. And disconnect this connector right here. There's a little lock tab on here. You can use a pick and just push it back a little bit. And then push down right there. Disconnect it, just like that. You use a trim tool. Take the connector off the frame. Like that. Now right near the outside of where the shock bracket is, I'm going to put a screw jack just to support the axle. Just raise it up a little bit. Now we're going to take this bolt out, use a 21mm wrench on the nut and 21mm socket on the bolt. You can raise the screw jack a little bit, make the bolt come out easier. Now we're going to take this bolt out, use a 21mm socket, and you have to get behind here to try to get on the bolt. It's a little bit tricky. That's on the bolt. Now we can take the nut off out front, use a 21mm socket. It's off. We can take the socket off. You can slide the socket back with the bolt while you're holding on to the shock. And slide it out. Now slide the top part of the shock in. Get the bolt started from the back side. Put the nut on. And before I tighten this down, we'll get the lower part of the shock in. You can raise up on the screw jack. Get it where it needs to be. Slide the bolt in, get the nut on. Now we're going to tighten the nut up. Put the socket back on the bolt on the back side of here. And I'm going to torque this nut to 85 foot-pounds. And tighten up the bottom. And then I'm going to torque this nut to 85 foot-pounds. Now I can lower the screw jack. And plug the connector in. Lock it down and then push down on that lock. And we can slide the retainer in place. Now take the air line, lock that in place. Slide the inner fender well in place. Line it up. Now I want to get all the screws started. Don't tighten them down yet, just get them all started because you might have to adjust. And these screws as well. And before I tighten those all down, I can put those push pins in, push those all the way down. Now tighten all the screws. And now the 7mm bolts. Tire on. Line it up. Now I'm going to torque the lug nuts to 140 foot-pounds in a cross pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. And just go around again, double check. Take the center cap, look where the valve stem goes, and just line that up in the right position. Lock it down.